Whenever you start a fat loss journey, you're obviously going to have to lower your calories. However, you could be making a vital mistake that keeps you from getting where you want to be, either dropping calories too fast or possibly even too slow. So in this video, I'm going to explain the dangers of both, as well as how many calories you should drop to start, and what to do when you hit those inevitable pesky weight loss plateaus. Hey, this is Colin DeWaay. If you want to get in the best shape of your life and do so while eating the foods you love, then make sure you hit that subscribe button and click on that bell notification so you don't miss anything. Starting with the fast side of things, there's a number of reasons why you don't want to go too fast. If you do so, it's going to trash your metabolism. Your body's going to adapt to this. If you're already barely even eating, even if you do see some fast results to start, now you're stuck, have no room to make adjustments and keep the process working. Then you get frustrated, end up feeling like it's not worth it, and fall into the all or nothing mentality that has probably plagued you for years. Not only that, the faster you lose weight, the more likely you are to lose muscle, and even if you don't really care about having a muscular physique, you still don't want this to happen. It's going to harm body composition, it's going to make your metabolism even slower, and on top of that, you're just going to have to be more restrictive. The less calories you're eating, the more unsustainable it's going to feel, the less energy you're going to have, the worse you're going to perform in the gym, the more likely you are to be really irritable. Just a lot of negative things come from going too fast, so you definitely need to learn to slow down and be patient with things. However, you can go too slow as well, and this is something I commonly see too. If you go too slow, what you end up doing is kind of, I call it reverse dieting in reverse. If you think about reverse dieting, if you don't know what that is, it's where you kind of gradually increase your calories, usually taking it a little bit slower to allow your metabolism to adapt to the higher calories while minimizing changes in body fat. Well, if you do that in a cutting phase, now you're slowly going to change your metabolism to slow down while minimizing changes in body fat. Not really something you want to do in a fat loss phase. So you need to make sure you drop your calories enough to elicit a response, but not so much you run yourself into the ground. So when you do make this initial drop in calories, you want to aim for losing around maybe 0.5 to 1% of your weight on average per week. I definitely recommend weighing yourself daily first thing in the morning after going to the bathroom and before eating or drinking anything, as this is the most consistent time of the day. And then you take an average for the week and compare that week by week, because your weight can just fluctuate way too much on a day-by-day basis. It can fluctuate even a few pounds, and if you do a weekly weigh-in, one week may be abnormally low, the other week abnormally high, but an average would have shown a loss. You see a gain and get frustrated. So that's why I say what you want to lose on average per week, not any singular day. Keep in mind too though, especially if you're new to strength training, you're going to build some muscle, weight isn't everything. I don't want you to get overly focused on just the scale number. At the end of the day, that's not really what you care about. You're looking to change your body, so definitely pay attention to pictures and measurements, pay attention to how your clothes are fitting, and look at everything, but at the same time, you do still not want to lose too fast. So to know how many calories to drop to start your cutting phase, well, first you need to make sure you know your maintenance calories. If you don't know this right now, especially if you're not tracking at all, what I recommend doing is just taking the next week, and now what you're going to do is eat the way you normally eat. Don't change anything, but now you're going to track it and look at the average calories per week. Much like with the weight, you take the calories every single day, do the total calories divided by 7, that's your average calories for the week. This is kind of a rough idea of how many calories you normally consume. Now if you're maintaining your weight, you know this is roughly your maintenance calories. You can always take it a step further and then spend another week eating around the same calories, now practicing hitting targets, which also helps you get set up to start tracking more diligently as well, and just see, okay, am I maintaining, am I gaining, am I losing, and then you can get a rough picture based on that. From there, when you are dropping your calories, it's not really about a certain amount of calories. For instance, someone who has 200 pounds to lose and is probably eating 4,000 calories a day, well, a 500 calorie drop is going to be a lot different than someone who only has 10 or 20 pounds to lose and say is eating about 1,800 calories to start with. So it's more based on a percentage of your maintenance calories, which I recommend. Usually I say about 20%, but somewhere between about 15 to 25% is a good place to start. So say for instance, you're eating 2,000 calories. If you're going to reduce those calories by 20%, now that would be a 400 calorie drop. Understand that genetics matter, all right? Everyone's a bit different. Some people can see progress making much smaller changes. Some people need to get much more aggressive to get things going. But also at the same time, everyone has kind of like a certain like threshold of calories you typically need to get to in order to start seeing results. And there's no guarantees when you make these initial changes that that's going to happen. You want to make sure you give it at least 2 to 3 weeks. Again, make sure you're looking at everything, not just weight. But if you're not seeing any changes in the start, then make another maybe 7 to 10% drop from there until things get moving. Also keep in mind, you can add in some extra activity. You can start doing a little bit more cardio, do more walking, which I do typically recommend, a combination of a calorie drop and then an increase in cardio. Now, one problem you may have is getting too tied up in your emotions and letting that take over and do things that are illogical instead of logical because you're in your own head. And if that's always been you, you may just need some extra accountability and someone who can take over the reins for you, which of course I would love to help. And if you sign up for online coaching, you can do so with a risk-free guarantee, meaning try it out. If you don't like it within 30 days, you can even get your money back. So if you do want to go to the next level, fill out an application. There's a link in the description. Now, all that being said, it's not just about calories. All right, your macros do matter, but I really don't personally care too much about your carb and fat split. It's really about protein. There is more and more research coming out all the time showing that whether you prefer more carbs or more fat doesn't really matter as long as your total calories and your protein are equated. But I recommend about 0.8 to 1.2 grams per pound of protein. And you don't want to reduce protein even when you hit plateaus, even as you lose weight. Keep the protein up, as it has so much benefit not only in helping protect your lean body mass so you don't lose that. Also, it has a very high thermic effect of food, so it burns a lot of calories processing the food you eat. It's also very filling, so as calories get lower, you're not quite as hungry because of that. So there's a ton of benefit to protein. Now, when you do hit plateaus, now you need to make some adjustments to get the process working again. However, keep in mind, much like in the beginning though, you want to make sure you give it at least 2 to 3 weeks of feeling like you're at a plateau. Again, don't only look at weight, look at everything. But once you do hit these plateaus, first of all, don't get frustrated or upset. It's just a normal part of the process. Your body's literally doing its job, so it's gonna happen. But now you need to make some changes to get things moving. First, I do strongly recommend that you take a diet break before making an adjustment in calories. I have just seen time and time again, when you take a diet break first and then make the adjustment, things get going so much better than just immediately dropping your calorie intake. And this is probably because it potentially helps keep you in a better spot hormonally, metabolically. You get the mental benefit to enjoy some more food. If you don't know what diet breaks are or how to go about them, I do have a video in the description you can check out next that will explain this. But the point is, you bring up your calories for a little bit, you bring your cardio down a little bit. Now, when you come back from that, now you're gonna drop your calories from your pre-diet break levels by about 7 to 10%, maybe increase a little bit more cardio, maybe 30 minutes to an hour for the week. Just kind of depends again on a lot of different factors. I don't want to touch too much on cardio in this particular video. I do have videos on that subject as well, but when you make these changes, that should help get the process working again. So you make a bigger change up front, and then you can make smaller changes down the road as you hit plateaus. You don't have to make these big drops every single time. Now, one thing you may find though is you're already not eating a whole lot of food. If you try to make that big of a drop up front, you're already on extremely low calories. Well, in that case, there's a pretty good chance you probably have a decent, possibly even extreme history of dieting, a lot of yo-yo dieting, and now your metabolism's running slow because of it. So what you need to do in that case before jumping into a cut is go through the reverse diet process to get your metabolism back into a better place and then come down the road from a better spot. But if you're not sure how to do that or why it even works, then I have this video you can check out up top next that will explain everything you need to know about why you need it, what to do, how long to do it, how many calories to increase, everything you need to know. So check that out next. Otherwise, I think you'll like this bottom video instead, and I'll see you in one of those other videos.